Hi, my name is Miss Samantha and I work at the headquarters library in the Youth Services Department. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a bracelet using a method called Kumihimo braiding. Let's get started. So what is Kumihimo? Kumihimo is an ancient form of braiding that comes from Japan. This is an example of Kumihimo. We're going to be making something just like this today. We're going to need a loom, but if you don't have one of these, I'm going to show you how to make one out of cardboard. So you'll need a piece of cardboard, some scissors, a pencil, a ruler, something to weave with. You can either use something like yarn or embroidery floss or hemp cord, or even leather cord or paracord. The bigger things like these two will need something a little bit bigger than this loom, but that's okay. You can just make something bigger. You can also use as a closure, you can use a button, but you don't have to have one. This is optional. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is get a loom. Now you can buy a loom like this from hobby stores or from Walmart, online. They're not expensive. They're nice because they're quite durable. They're made up of a foamy material that stands the test of time. I've made several bracelets on this. But if you don't have the ability to get one, or you don't know where to get one, I can show you how to make one out of cardboard. This is simply a piece of cardboard from a box top. You could also use a thick cardboard from a cereal box or anything else like that. So first we need to make our circle. The easiest thing to make a circle with is to find something to trace. So this is the lid of a container that was at my desk, and it is, I think, right about 5 inches, which means it's perfect. Now these can be anywhere from 4 inches, like this one, to 6 inches. I like the 5 inch, but anything in that area, whatever you can find that's about that size, should be fine to work with. So we're just going to trace this onto our cardboard. Voila. Now that we have our circle on here, what we're going to do is you're going to go right about the middle, and we're just going to draw a line. And then we're going to draw another line going the other way. That looks pretty good. So now we've got 4 lines and 4 sections. So we actually need 32 lines. So the easiest way to do this is just to put your ruler right there, and you're in the middle of those 2 sections. And you're essentially just going to kind of dissect each section. Okay, let's do it again. So now we're going to dissect this section. It's not perfect, but that is okay. Looks pretty good. Let's do this one. And this one. Okay, that is 16, I believe. So now we need to dissect each section one more time. At this point, because they're not really that big, you can even just take your pencil and draw a line right there in the middle, and that works perfectly well. Okay, so let's count, make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Perfect. Now we're going to cut this out, just the circle part, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now we've cut out our circle, so what we're gonna do is make a small little cut on each of these lines. You wanna do maybe ½ an inch for each one, something, because this is where your thread or your yarn or whatever your material is gonna be held while we're weaving it. Okay, so now we've got all these little areas that kind of are cut up. So now, if you want to, you can erase those lines or you can just flip it over. The last step to making our loom is actually going to be to making a hole in the middle. Now this one has a pretty big hole. We don't really need that big of a hole. Easiest thing to do is just to take your pencil, carefully. Now that's a pretty small hole. If that's a little too small, you can always try to make it a bit bigger with your pencil. It doesn't have to be huge. You could take and put some scissors to it, but really, unless you're doing like the really big stuff, like maybe the paracord or the leather cord, this hole is going to be plenty big enough. Now that we have our loom made, we need to decide on a pattern. The patterns that I have are all 16 thread count. Now you can do 8 thread, 24 thread, those are both really common. There's even ones that go higher, but I like the 16 one because it gives you enough thread to have a nice thick braid without being too bad, and it also gives you some room to make some cool designs. Like this one that you can see is Pokeballs. So I'm going to show you the 16 count. I'm also showing you the technique used to make a round braid. There are some for a flat braid or other shapes. The technique is slightly different. You do use the same loom, so you could make a loom but you would have to find the directions for that. This is a round 16 count that we're doing today, that I'm showing you. So I've decided that I want to make this one. So what I need to do is cut my thread. So I'm actually going to use embroidery floss, which comes in a skein that looks like this. So I want to do this pattern, and it has 3 colors. We've got the pink here, we've got a teal color, and we've got a blue color. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of pink. And then we need 3 teals and 3 blues. Now I'm actually not going to use a teal color. I'm going to use this really pretty turquoise color because I just like it. And you can substitute any color for any other color. You just need to remember, when I'm putting my pattern together, I need to make sure to put my turquoise blue where the teal ones go. And then it'll just be the same pattern, except for the turquoise will be where the teal is. So how long do we cut these? The easiest way is to cut, instead of cutting 2 shorter pieces, we're going to cut 1 really long piece. And what that will let us do is that we can fold it over and we'll get our loop. See the loop that's on? Nope. Here we go. The loop that is on our finished product. So it makes it a little bit easier, and it's a cute little closure. But if you'll notice, we have 3 teals and 3 blues. Well, we can't do really long pieces, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut 1 long piece of teal and 1 short piece of teal. 1 long piece of blue and 1 short piece of blue. And then the pinks, that's an even number. It's 10, so we're going to cut 5 long pieces. So a short or normal size piece is going to be about somewhere between 18 and 22 inches. I prefer to add a little extra length just because it's never a bad idea. So I'm going to cut my pieces, my short pieces, 22 inches, and I'm going to cut my long pieces 44 inches. Okay, so I've got my turquoise and my pink ones cut. Let's cut my blue ones. So I need one short one. That's gonna be 12 plus 10 makes 22. And then we're gonna do one long one of 44. So it's gonna be 12, 24, 36, and 8. Okay, so let's get all of our long pieces together. So I've got 5 pink, 1 dark blue, and 1 turquoise blue, right? Yeah, a little fuzzy out there. Okay, so now we're gonna fold this over, fold it in half. So we've got a loop on this end, and then we're gonna take our 2 pieces of shorter thread, and we're just gonna lay it in there. So to make our loop, get these all evened up. There we go. Still that blue. We are going to tie a knot by making a circle, and then we're going to pull our loop through the back. And you might have to maneuver it up a little bit depending on, you don't want a huge loop. If you have trouble figuring out how big the loop you need, you can take something like a marker and then just push the knot all the way up. That's a pretty good size. And then just pop it off. There we go. Now I have these little pieces that I'm gonna trim off just to make it all look good. But if you've tied your knot secure, they should be good to go. Okay, so we've got our thread ready. Let's put it on the loom. So we've got our thread ready. Now to put it on the loom, we're actually going to take our loop and our knotted end and put it through this hole. Just like that. And then if you want to pick any spot on here and mark that as the top, just so you remember. So now what we're going to do, put our Mr. Ruler, we're going to take our pattern and we are going to set up these pieces just like our loom looks here. So the first one is going to be teal, or in my case, it's going to be this turquoise color. I'm going to take the turquoise, going to separate. Ooh, that'll happen, that's okay. We're just going to put it back in there. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so we're going to take our turquoise and we're going to put it in that one that we start. And then right next to it, we're going to put a pink. Okay, and then we're going to skip 2 spaces and put 2 more pinks. 1, 2, a pink. And then we're going to put another pink right next to it. Okay, so then we're going to put 2 more pink, and then we're going to do this one, and we're going to go all the way around. So now, put all the thread in there. Let's see, where was the top? There's the top. So you want to make sure no matter what colors you're using, if you're substituting colors or doing a different pattern, you just want to make sure that your thing looks just like this. So here's my top all the way around and it looks good to go. The reason I really like this technique is because once you get it set up in the loom like this, following your pattern, you've actually done the hardest parts. That was the hardest part. The easiest part is the weaving or the braiding. It's actually only 3 steps. Now remember, these are the 3 steps to make a round braid. And the 3 steps are, so this is our top, and right across from it is the bottom pair. So that's the ones you're going to work with on each turn. So we're going to use these 2. So the first step is taking the right from the top and putting it in the bottom right, just like that. And then the second step is going to take the bottom left and putting it to the top left. And the third step is turning. And you're going to turn it to the left or counterclockwise, and you're going to go to the next group. And here we got the group on top and the group on bottom. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to grab our top right and take it to the bottom right. We're going to take our bottom left and take it to the top left. And the third step is we turn. Now we've got this. So we're going to take the top right to the bottom right. And then we're going to take the bottom left and move it to the top left. Now, as you can see, it's already getting a little tangled, and that will happen while we have the longer pieces. Just kind of comb through it with your fingers every couple of turns, because if you don't, it will get knotted. So be careful with that. So that is the 3 steps. You're going to keep doing those 3 steps over and over and over and over again. Okay guys, I want to show you what it's going to start to look like a few minutes after you start braiding. Just keep doing those same 3 steps. So this is one that I've been working on for a few minutes. As you can see, it's a different pattern. And I've used yarn instead of the thread. But what's cool is, check it out. You can start to see the pattern. And I've only been working on this for a few minutes, all doing those same 3 steps. Okay guys, so you continue doing those 3 steps for a long time. This is a great thing to do while you're watching TV or just hanging out with your friends. It'll take you a while. It depends on how long you want the finished product to be, but I promise, stick with it, it's gonna look cool. So here's one that I've done that I think looks super cute. It's nice and long, it's a good length for me. Got my loop there, and I still have a little bit of thread on here, and you can keep going until your thread runs out if you want. It's up to you, but I think this is a good length. So now I'm going to show you how to finish it. The first step is we're going to take it off of our loom. Move this out of the way. We're going to take it off of our loom just by pulling it out of these spots, and then we can set our loom aside. Now, this is not going to come unraveled simply because it's not on the loom, so don't worry about that. Now, the way I like to close it is actually with a button. Now, you don't have to use a button if you don't have a button or you don't like the button. That's totally up to you. Now, if you don't have a button or you don't want to use a button, all you need to do is tie a couple of knots right here at the end, and then you can snip off as much as you want or as little as you want, and then you're done. If you do want to have a button, I want to have a button. So I'm going to take my button and I'm going to take, I don't know, any of the colors. I like the contrast of the yellow with the black because I have a black button. So I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to, if it's a little frayed, you can trim off the end or you can just kind of twist it like I just did. And that'll make it a little bit thicker. And then you just want to pull it all the way through. And you can take the same piece and put it back through the bottom. Now some buttons only have 2 holes. It's entirely up to you. You just want to thread it through all the holes, all the ones that you have available. So I'm going to take the same piece and thread it through again. And I'm just going to go back one more time. Okay. Make sure that's on there good. So now that that is threaded, all we're going to do is tie a couple of knots. The easiest way is just to separate these Doesn't have to be perfect. And just tie a knot like you're tying your shoes. Make sure it's snug. And I like to do a second one just because. Okay, so these are really long tails. I don't want them that long, but I do kind of like the idea of having tails. So I'm going to cut off some of this. You can cut off more. You can even cut off up to, up to down here if you don't want to have long tails. It's entirely up to you. So now we have a finished bracelet that we made in the Kumihimo braiding technique. I think it looks awesome. Thanks everybody so much for joining me. I hope you have a good time making your bracelets, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.